Greetings, everybody. This is Pat at Dancing Moon Travel. Welcome. I know we're looking a little different tonight because we're on Zoom rather than our usual software for this. So we don't have our usual intro video playing, but a little technology issue. So that just, goes with the program sometimes. But welcome to Let's Talk Travel. We're so glad you're here. And we are so excited to welcome one of our best friends and providers in the tourism industry, IWorld of Travel. This evening, we have Zehava Bitton joining us, and she's been with us before. You may remember we did a program on Israel a while back. That's been actually one of our very most popular videos ever. It still gets a lot of views. Welcome, Zehava. We're so glad you're here. And we are going to start by whetting your appetite this evening. We have a little video to get you started about our topic. Tonight's topic, of course, is we're on at the subject of Africa, and Egypt is our topic for this evening. So whenever you're ready, Shane, if you want to play that video for us, we're ready.
Travel back in time with us thousands of years from an enthralling Egyptian odyssey. We'll walk in the footsteps of the pharaohs, cruise the languid waters of the Nile, and gaze at Cairo's twinkling lights from a felucca. There's a reason Egypt has lured travelers through the ages and continues to be one of the most popular destinations worldwide. History and mystery are powerful pulls for adventurous souls, and Egypt is awash in both. We'll visit Cairo's King Tut, whose discovery spawned a global pop culture, Giza's mythical Great Sphinx and the Great Pyramid, the oldest and most intact of the seven wonders of the ancient world, Luxor's Valley of the Kings, one of the most famous archaeological sites on the planet, a royal burial ground for scores of pharaohs who ruled more than 3,000 years ago. We'll be dazzled by the illuminated temple of Luxor and Karnak at night, their massive pillars holding up the sky. We'll visit Aswan's monuments, the giant, awe-inspiring temples of Ramses II and Nefertari, both UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and legendary city of Memphis. We'll visit the High Dam and the Temple of Philae, built to honor the goddess Isis, mirrored on the waters surrounding its island. As we sail down the Nile on a tour through time aboard a 5-star luxury vessel, we imagine life when the enormous treasure-filled tombs were built and marvel that they still stand today. We explore the ancient town of Edfu by horse-drawn carriage and close our eyes to see the Egyptians who walked its streets centuries ago. Our journey ends in Saqqara at the Step Pyramid, one of the oldest stone structures in the world. Just as the stones endure through millennia, our memories of Egypt will last a lifetime. Our custom trips are drawn from a menu of enticing experiences with something interesting for everyone. This is Michael Gilbert, CEO IWorld of Travel, inviting you to experience another memories beyond destination. IWorld of Travel. Expect more. Do more.
Oh, Zehava, watching that, I have a hard time. I just grinning ear to ear. That is so beautiful, so exciting. And what a way to whet our appetites as we start this session of Let's Talk Travel. Tell us a little bit, we always like to start by letting our viewers get a little bit acquainted with you. And could you just tell us how you got into the travel industry and made your way to IWorld of Travel?
Of course, first of all, it's so nice to be back and meet with you. And of course, your clients, your audience, it's really a pleasure. I began my journey with tourism many, many years ago. I studied and worked as a guide in Israel. Apparently, I've worked for the same company I'm working now, but it was one of the guides of one of the main guides leading different type of tours. Later on, I moved to United States and I continue working for the same company. Just that when I moved, I started actually leading many tours to different parts of the world. So as I've mentioned, I was a guide in Israel for many years, and within it become our specialist to the Middle East. And for us, when we say Middle East, we include Egypt. So Egypt, Jordan, Israel, and some other destinations. So I'm very glad to be with you today.
That is so interesting. You have been with iWorld of Travel. How many years do you
Oh, for
know?
many years, like over 25 to 30
Wow.
years, but yeah. But I
That,
had
you know,
different stages with iWorld, of course, and it has been a great journey. Yeah,
you
really a
know,
great journey.
I think that speaks volumes about a company when you have employees who have just been there year after year after year. If people, if it's not a good company, you can bet that people they're going to have turnover like crazy, because if they're not doing a good well with their clientele, and they're not treating their guests and their employees right, people aren't going to be. But iWorld has been around there for years and years, and you have been with
Absolutely.
them for all this many, so that speaks volumes to me. uh, Now tell us a little more about iWorld of Travel. Whatever, I know the years and years in the industry, and uh what areas of the globe are you currently serving? I think you've expanded a good bit. And what sets you apart from other providers in the tourism industry?
Well, so iWorld of Travel is a tour operator. We cover a large part of the world. We cover Europe. We have our own office in Croatia, of course, Israel, Jordan, Egypt, Dubai, the Middle East, where we share an office in Israel. We cover Africa, South America, and Asia. And I think that one should ask, how do we cover so many destinations? But it's very important to understand that we have specialists to each of the area of the world. So you're really dealing with a lot of people who have a great knowledge to the destination. I would say that what set us apart, listen, there are so many companies out there, but I think what's unique about us is the fact that we are a small company. And as a small company, we are all involved with what we are doing daily. And for us, a client we are working with you with clients, right? A client that is coming to us through a travel advisors, because we work with travel advisors only, is not a number of a person who is taking a trip somewhere. He's a person who is traveling with us. We know what they would like to see. We ask their interests, and if God forbid there is any problem, so the entire company is on top of it, including myself and Michael Gelberg, who is our CEO, and so on and so forth. So when they're dealing with a small company, I think that the importance to our eyes is, of course, the client and the travel advisor. This is very important.
Okay, very good. So that client experience really is personal to you guys. It's they're people, they're not numbers, and a lot of times these huge travel
Absolutely. I
providers,
mean,
they have no idea who's with them. You guys
no,
know because,
absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
even just today, where I was dealing with people who are in Jordan, and I remember starting with this booking, where the travel advisors told me that they are very, very involved with scouts in the United States. So when they are moving to Israel, Jordan and Israel, we set for them a Bedouin experience in a tent, but not glamping, real tent, with a Bedouin experience, because they wanted to visit and to see, to experience the real camping like the scouts in back in the United States. So it is a very important part of our service to really know the clients, and to understand that while we know the client's wish, we will be able to create the maximum experience. Absolutely.
I love that. And how would one of our listeners, can you describe the iWorld traveler? Who is your typical traveler? And I know everybody's unique, but there are always some things that help you identify this is a great match for you. Who's a great candidate for one of your customized journeys?
I think that independent travelers who don't like to see like 10 countries in 6 days, we are really going into details. We are building the itinerary for the client, as I've mentioned earlier. And I think that a client who is also flexible, a client who has a great interest with the country that they go. So these are the type of clients, but I think most important is clients who would like to have who are individually traveling as not part of a large groups.
Okay, very good. And Zehava, as you know, our Let's Talk Travel programming for the month of May is focused on the African continent. And for the geographically challenged out there, Egypt really is part of the African continent. And it has been such a hot destination. And I'm not just talking about the weather, which can get very hot there, but the popularity of this destination really had started well before the pandemic hit. And now that travel has begun to recover, that popularity is burgeoning once again. Are IWorld's bookings strong for 2022 and 2023?
Yes, and especially Egypt. Egypt, just to let you know that Egypt was a popular destination even during the pandemic. We had several bookings in November last year, 2021, in the midst of the pandemic. Somehow Egypt carried on during the pandemic, and now it is one of our most popular destinations. Clients like to visit Egypt and Israel in many cases, and in other cases they would want to visit Egypt by itself, but it's definitely one of our top destinations.
Very, very, very good. And what would you say is the top time of year for travel to Egypt? When is a good time for people to visit there?
I would say that it's from October to somehow March, or even just the beginning of April. As you know, being in Africa, Egypt is during the summer is very, very hot. It's easily can be like more than 120 degrees Fahrenheit. During the summer, it's not as popular, I would say, as during the fall and our winter, right? The peak of the season where many would like to travel, but then it is very crowded, right? Is December, January. And I would say that if people or your clients have a little bit spare time in between, I would say January and December, February is an excellent month, as well as March, and of course, October, November, absolutely.
Okay, excellent, excellent, good to know. Yes, I would not be a candidate to go in the summer when that heat is over 100 degrees. Not going to go well for most of us. We're looking at
For
that
me
kind
too.
of temperatures.
Yeah.
So, and IWorld has the ability. You have space available for going into later this year and into the first part of 2023.
Yeah, we still have availability, and we still have spaces. We have excellent partners in Egypt, really one of the best, and working with different hotels, 4 and 5, mainly 5-star hotels. And of course, with the cruises, we have different cruises we are working with. It depends on the wish of the client. It really depends on the budget and the wish of the client. Absolutely.
Very good. And how many days would you say? How many nights it would be the minimum that people should, once they're on the ground in Egypt, how many nights should they plan in order to do it properly, would you say?
I would say a minimum of 7-8 nights. This is usually if you really want to see Egypt, you would arrive to Cairo, you would stay 2 nights in Cairo, and then 2 or 3 nights, and then you will take a cruise along the Nile for either 3 or 4 days, flying back to Cairo for another overnight, and then flying back home. This is the traditional, I would say, route visiting Egypt when you want to really see what Egypt has to offer, right? There are sometimes clients who would say, oh, I would like to see just the pyramids. Of course, that we will respect the wish of the clients, but if you really want to see Egypt in its best, it's Cairo and the Nile.
Yeah, you really, if people are going to travel halfway around the world, you need to allow adequate time and see what there is to see, and not just go and try to rush through without having some authentic experiences and soaking in the must-see sites at the very least. Some of the sites, this itinerary that you had suggested to me is really interesting. So you said a couple of nights in Cairo. Excellent hotels I noticed here.
Amazing hotels, really. And I must add that Cairo is a very affordable destination. You know, you can have the best of what Egypt can offer, a 5-star hotel or 5-star deluxe hotel, as well as the cruise, and it's still very affordable, right? So yeah, so it's always very important to have it back in our mind. Absolutely.
Excellent. Great to know. Yes, and your hotels, I know, are some of the best in the industry, well located, great amenities and service, and you guys are very inclusive with your packages as well, I note.
Yeah, I mean, we are very inclusive with our packages, but once again, it all depends on the client interest. If the clients would like to have a dinner with a family, right, a local family in Egypt, we'll be able to provide it. If one of the travelers of the clients would like to have a nice dinner while being on the Nile, you know, a kind of a romantic way to have dinner, we will be able to provide it. Just to take a little stroll with the faluka. It's like the ancient boat that they used to use, whether in Aswan, or we will be able to provide it. So as I've mentioned earlier, our really specialty is to really know who are the clients, what is their interest, what is their passion, and accordingly to design the itinerary, right? But absolutely, these are things that we can include in itineraries in Egypt.
I know pretty much always include things like your transfers.
Always.
Yeah,
not only that, the transfers, you know, it's not only transfer, it starts from the greeting at the airport, because once you are greeted in the airport, there is already someone who is waiting for you at the airport, not outside. And then arranging, while you are doing all your arrangements and arranging over there the visa and the documents in order to start continuing with your process to continue and meet the driver who will take you to the hotel. So when we provide a package, we really provide everything from A to Z. A greeting at the airport, transfer from the airport to the hotel, of course, meeting the guide and guiding you and showing you, of course, this amazing destination in Egypt, in Cairo, the Nile, coming back. So your clients are with great people to hand their hands, right?
Right.
To experience. They are worried free while they are in Egypt. They really have to think only about their experience and how they can enjoy the destination.
Yes, you guys have arranged the experiences and customized the itinerary to their preferences, and they don't have to worry about how am I going to get from the airport to the hotel. You guys, they are under your care from the time that they get on the ground and get their luggage. From there on out, you guys are taking care of them every step of the way, so they don't have to worry about a thing. They are in good hands. And
Not
and
only
most of
that,
our
if I may add,
Sure.
Pat, you know, tour operators is not only when what we are planning. Sometimes you can value tour operators when something is going wrong, right? How
Mhm.
do we react to it? And just to give you an example, we had very upscale clients who went to Israel and Egypt. It was last year. Oh, no, sorry, before the COVID. And just before the client went to the air, from the hotel to be back to the United States to take she slid into the floor and she hurt her hand. She couldn't fly. And she had to stay there for 3 days or 4 days, I don't remember. But for these 3 days, we had one person from the office, from our office, being with her 24 hours, just for her need, just for her need. What can we bring? With the net, we had our partners there taking care and working with her travel advisors for the insurance, whatever needed. Until the time they flew back, it was someone was there to assist them. And this is the type of, I would say, services we are expecting from ourselves, and of course, and what you would expect from us.
And that is such, you know, just the security that lends when we know that we're putting our guests, our valued clients, in the hands of a travel provider that cares that much about their experience and is taking care of when something does go awry. And folks think, you know, we go on vacation and things still happen sometimes. You know, life goes on and somebody slips off a curb and turns an ankle or takes a fall and breaks a hand or whatever. So we really appreciate the providers that are there for our clients when something like that happens. Of course, we always encourage our clients now more than ever to travel insured. That is a given this
Sure.
day and age. You do not leave the United States without
Yeah.
your travel insurance, folks. It is just that important. So could you tell us, Zehava, just a quick update of the protocols in place for Egypt since the pandemic and things? How has it affected travel there, and what what about entry and the exit tests that's still required?
Very easy, very, very easy to enter to Jordan. They are requesting a certificate of 2 vaccines that you had, and the certificate has to be with QR through your phone, right? You just have to download it through your phone and you can do it here, right? Or a negative PCR 96 hours prior to arrival. That's it.
Okay.
It's or a PCR or a vaccine. Very easy.
Okay.
And it has been since the beginning of the COVID.
So that is pretty simple as far as travel goes these days. It is extremely important to have that ease of travel as well. So Zehava, is there anything important that you feel that we haven't covered that our clients should know about before we close?
You know, I just want to say that maybe just to talk a bit about the destination itself, right? Egypt is really one of the most fascinating countries. So many contrasts. It's one of the cradle of the ancient world. It's just unbelievable to visit these beautiful temples. And when you see itinerary, you will be able to see that everywhere you will go, you will find another temple and one more temple and one more temple. But bear in mind that each of the temple has its own story. Each of the temple has its own history and its own experience, whether it's the temples in Aswan or Abu Simbel. It's just an amazing country. Its history is so rich, Even the current history is amazing, It's a country of 100 million people, where actually the main part of the country is the Nile, which is the longest Nile or the longest river in the world, right? The majority of the people live just few, I would say, few miles along the line, right? Along the Nile. So it's an amazing country. Cairo is such a vibrant city. It's unbelievable. From the museum that is going to be opened in November, it will be the largest museum in the world. Wow. And it will be by the pyramids. You'll be able to walk, and with the window, you'll be able to see the 3 beautiful pyramids in Giza, right? You'll be able to visit the markets and the souks, and you will be able to visit, to hear the sounds of this bustling city. It's an amazing city with a lot of, happy people. It's unbelievable. And the Nile itself, when you take the flight to Aswan and you start to Luxor and you start the Nile journey, just to enjoy the scenery, the calm scenery and the green scenery of the Nile, to enjoy the people, right? The people who live along the Nile, and of course to enjoy the beauty of each of the temple that you will be visiting, whether the Valley of the King, when you will be able to see these beautiful, huge tombs, is unbelievable. And of course, the other temples, Abu Simbel in Aswan, and so on and so forth. So it's a really, it's a privilege to visit Egypt. It's a privilege just to understand that here we are in the world, and we are going back to 4,600 years ago when the pyramids were built in Giza. You are going back to 5,000 years ago. And then you are thinking to yourself, wow, this is amazing. We are standing in these huge stones, like from 2 to 25 tons of stones. How it was built, how they carried it, who are the people, where they quarried it. It's such an amazing archaeological kind of, when you look at it at the archaeological aspect, it's amazing.
Yeah, people are still speculating on how in the world did they build those structures. And there's a lot of speculation, but not really no definitive answers as to how in the world they managed to create those incredible, huge structures without any of the automation and resources that we have in the modern age. It is baffling.
Baffling.
I love it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
Now, Zehava, I have to admit that I love this question. Could be my favorite of the entire interview, in fact, but tell us, how can our clients book an Egypt trip with IWorld of Travel?
Well, I've mentioned earlier, we are a tour operator and we work exclusively with travel advisors. And I'm so happy that we have amazing relationship with you, Pat. And so I strongly support, I strongly recommend your clients to call you, to give you as much detail as possible. We want to visit Egypt. This is when we are thinking to visit Egypt. This is approximately our budget. What can we do? This is what I like to do. This is what my emphasis. So I think that when the client call you, just have the details, not the details, but the idea of what you want from your trip, right? And then, of course, that you will call us. We will have the itinerary ready. You know that with us, if the client has any questions, we will always be able to set a Zoom meeting with you and your clients and just go through the itinerary and prepare them for their really lifetime experience. But most important is that your clients have to call you and to be ready with all the facts, and then you'll be able to call us.
I just love a supplier that supports the agent community, obviously. And Zehava, I am just thrilled that IWorld is doing so well, and after the pandemic, that hitting their stride again. And folks, as always, the time has gone so quickly. But as always, we have a prize drawing, and this evening I have something a little different. I have some travel accessories here. I have 3 different things. I have this roll-up packing cube. It's upside down, but that to help pack and condense things to fit in your luggage, a dress bag, and these pocket stashers that come in so handy for those little things. Maybe you have some medication you need to take along, or you have some small cosmetics or some kind of, or maybe even a little snack that these little things slip into any pocket and are great. So all you have to do is type in to the comments section, just somewhere along the line, you put in the chat box. I just want to hear you say IWorld in the chat box. And those who are listening live only, these are for our live listeners, will be entered in our drawing this evening to get this package of travel accessories that I know you're going to enjoy. Thank you again, Zehava, for being with us. So appreciate your taking the time to be with us, and really appreciate all that you guys do for the travel industry. You guys are an icon, and we are so glad that you are one of our preferred partners in this wonderful industry. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and talk soon.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.